This is packet tracer 10133 and it's configuring DHCP using Cisco IOS. So here's the topology, your addressing table, and the scenario. So our first step says configure R2 to exclude the first 10 addresses from the R1 and R3 LANs. All addresses should be available in the DHCP address table. So we're going to start by going to R2, going to the CLI, and we're going to enter configuration mode. And our first command is going to be IP DHCP exclude dash address 192.168.10.1 space 192.168.10.10. Then you go ahead and hit enter, and then enter in the second command, which is just going to be changing this to 30. Oh, what happened there? So going to change this to 30, and then this 10 as well. So the second command will be IP DHCP exclude address 192.168.30.1 and then space 192.168.30.10. Alright. So now it says create a DHCP pool named R1-LAN, case sensitive. So we're going to type in IP DHCP pool R1-LAN in capital letters. Hit enter, and that creates the pool. Now it says configure the DHCP pool to include the network address, the default gateway, and the IP address on the DNS server. So we're going to type in network, and then type in the IP address, which is 192.168.10.0 space 255.255.255.0. Hold on. Six eight 10.0 and 255.255.255.0. Alright. We're gonna hit enter. Now type in default dash router and then the address, which is 192.168.30.1. Hit enter. Our next is the DNS server, so we're going to type in DNS dash server and then the IP address, which is 192.168.20.254, and then you hit enter. There we go. Our next step says create a DHCP pool on R2 for the R3 LAN. So now we're going to type in IP DHCP pool 3 R3 LAN. So go ahead and enter in IP DHCP pool and then R3. Last time we did R1. So R3 dash LAN in capital letters. Enter. Okay. Now it says configure the DHCP pool to include the network addresses, the default gateway, and the IP addresses for the DNS server. So the same thing, but for R3 LAN. So let's type in network, and it's going to be 192.168.30.0, and then it's going to be 255.255.255.0. Enter. Now we're doing the default router. So type in the IP address 192.168.30.1. Enter. Whoa. Let me erase that bracket. Okay. And then the last one is the DNS server. and then the IP address, and then the 192.168.20, the 254. Then hit enter. Alright, next step. It says configure DHCP relay. Configure R1 and R3 as a DHCP relay agent. So now we're going to exit out of R2 and we're going to go on to R1 first. We'll do CLI. Enter configuration mode. And then we're going to type in INT for interface, gigabit port 00, and then type in IP helper dash address, and then 10.1.12. Hit enter, and that's it. So now we're gonna go to R3, CLI, enter the configuration mode. Gonna go into interface G00, and then type in the same command, helper address, and then the IP address, which is 10.1.1.2, then enter. Oh, and don't forget to put the IP in front of helper, IP helper address. Alright, so that's that. Now it says set PC1 and PC2 to receive an IP address information from the DHCP. So you enter PC1, go to your desktop, IP configuration, and then you set this to DHCP. And then it'll load and it'll have the IP subnet mask, default gateway, and the DNS. So now we're going to do the same thing for PC2. And then just click on DHCP bubble, and then it takes a little bit to load. That's it. Now it says configure R2 as a DHCP client. So it says configure the gigabit Ethernet 01 interface on R2 to receive IP addressing from DHCP and activate the interface. So we're going to enter R2. We're in the CLI. We're going to type in INT for interface G0/0. Enter. And type in IP address DHCP. Enter. And now to activate the interface, we're going to type no shut. No shutdown. Enter. Alright. Now it says verified DHCP connectivity, verified DHCP binding. So on R2, we're going to enter in the command. First, we're going to end. Now enter in the command show IP DHCP binding. Enter. Alright. And it should look like this right here. So everything looks good. You just double check this with this right here. Now it says verify configuration. Verify that PC1 and PC2 can now ping to each other. So we're going to grab one of these packets and start from PC1 and then PC2. The first one's going to fail, but the second time you try it, it should succeed. So here it says successful. Alright, so that's it. That's how it should look like.